Last time we were talking a lot about digital modulation techniques and choosing a radio. This time, let's assume you've kind of chosen a radio and now you want to get it on the air and you want to get it programmed. And I hear a lot of questions on the air about programming, so programming is kind of today's topic. Remember now, things have really changed in D-Star. We're at the 4th generation of D-Star radios at this point. And by that I mean that the 2300 was the first, and then the 880 was the second, and the 92 portable and the 2820 mobile were kind of the 3rd generation. And right now we're up to the ID51, a fabulous portable, and the ID5100 mobile. And those are amazing radios, and those radios do a lot of the programming for you. It has become so much simpler in D-Star over time. How can we program these radios? First off, we can do it from the front panel, and the 5100 is really nice because a keyboard even comes up when it's appropriate and needed, so it's just like working on your cell phone or a smartphone. And then we could use a cloning cable, or we can use the software, or have no cable at all and do it totally by the SD card. So there's a variety of ways that you can talk to your radio to program it. I prefer, and I know Ray N9JA also prefers, to use the software. I really like using the software. ICOM software comes with the 5100 these days, so there's no extra charge. Now, so there are fans out there of the RT Systems software, and RT Systems does make an RT51 that comes with a cable. Again, that's a great thing if you like to use it, and a lot of people do, but I'm a big fan of free, and the other software comes with the radio and you don't even need the cable. Next, the GPS receive antenna is built into the control head. Get the control head with power on the radio out to where it can see the GPS birds. Once you have a position, you can go into the radio and simply say, what are the repeaters around me? And it writes them all into the memories, both for D-Star and analog now. So some real advantages with the automated functions of the radio. Next, we can do it a little more conventionally. You can use the ARRL repeater book and look up the frequency pairs that you might like. Or you can get on Google and research frequencies that way. There's a lot of spots there that are really valuable, including radio reference. You can also share files with friends. I know I've shared files with several friends. And there's help on the air. You can get on the air and talk to people and ask them, hey, I'm having this problem when I'm trying to program, or how do I make it do this? And guys are talking about that everywhere on D-Star all day long. And some dealers even provide a little help with programming. So there's a lot of ways to get help. There's a lot of ways to program the radio. And remember, most important, the way the 4th generation radios are set up, they self-populate. This is an example of the ICOM software that comes with the radio. And it's set up with this branch over at this side that allows you to kind of see where you are in the programming, and then the fields in this manner. And you basically go through and get the cursor where you want the cursor to be, and then use your keyboard. It's awfully easy to do it that way. And the best advantage from my point of view of this software is, let's say you get into something like down here, and you're looking at something that you're wondering what it is. For instance, heterodyne, A-band VHF. I'm not sure offhand what that is. So what you do is you simply right-click it and go to Help, and then the software brings up a well-written little bit from the manual that specifically addresses your question. And it also covers the variables for that data field. This is what I really like about the ICOM software. It's so easy to use. I think the banks are one of the most creative and interesting areas of programming the radio. And the reason I think that is, there's lots of different ways to use it. A lot of people use one bank for their VHF channels and another bank for their UHF frequencies. Some others put their analogs in a bank and their digitals in yet another. Some people add to that their simplex frequency collections for each band. And those are probably the most common ways. Other people that maybe have 2 locations that they visit frequently that are geographically diverse. We'll set up all the frequencies for one location in a set of banks, and all the frequencies for the other location in still another set of bank. Now, what I like to do is even a little different from all of that. I have my own way of using it. I like to use the radio for what the radio really can do. So, here's what I do on mine. My banks are labeled air, broadcast, commercial radio, D-Star, food kiosks, ham, marine, police, and railroad. In other words, I like to do a lot of listening to the other services that the radio covers. And that gives me some real opportunities and lets me have a lot more fun with my radio. Here's how.
Hi, welcome to Burger King. How may I help you?
Yes, I need to get a double cheeseburger meal, large.
Okay, now we know what she just ordered at Burger King. How empty can W8SS's life be to listen to things like this? Hey, you'd be surprised how much fun it is to sit and eat your meal and watch cars come up and predict before they order what they might order. No kidding, it's fun. So one day while driving along with D-Star on the main band and the sub-band turned to the Marine Bank and scanning, we heard an interesting Coast Guard call, and we decided it was only about 50 miles away, so let's go see it.
Hey, Griffin, where's the boat clear there now?
Turns out what we saw was the freighter, the Ashtabula. That is a 1,004-foot-long ship, 7,200 horsepower. It's a barge with an attached tug, the Defiance, and she was stuck in the ice. That's right, it was in Marine City, Michigan, in the St. Lawrence Seaway on the St. Clair River, stuck in the ice. And the Coast Guard called 3 ships to its rescue, 3 icebreakers. The Canadian Griffin, the Canadian Samuel Risley, and good old number 102, the Bristol Bay of the United States Coast Guard.
You're understood. Risley, on your mark. This is that. Here goes the Risley. Stand by there.
Well, they worked and worked. They got her loose, and then they continued to stay with her and guide her as she continued downbound through Lake Erie into Buffalo with 26,000 tons of sand on board. But wait a minute. What about D-Star? Let's listen to an amateur radio D-Star QSO.
This is WB6AEA monitoring on the reflector.
W8SS-HN-D-Star.
This is W8SS. How are you today?
Just fine. I see from the display that your name is Joe. The name here is John, Juliet Oscar November, and I'm located in the San Francisco Bay Area.
I'm located in Hell, Michigan, where it is currently 4 degrees Fahrenheit. I see you're using a 5100. I am as well. Really love this radio.
I've owned the 5100 for exactly a week. I had an ID 880 that I just couldn't get my head around, and the 5100 is making all the difference in the world for me on D-Star. Okay, well, that's enough for this evening, Ham Nation enthusiasts. Lots planned for next time, including call sign routing, using reflectors, DPRS, and much more, including explaining what this screen behind us is about. 73 until next time.